I've been away from the garden for just over a week, and I finally got a chance to get up here. We went to visit some family in Nova Scotia and we got home yesterday. I worked all day today, so I'm just finally getting up here. And I thought, let's take a walk around and I can show you the craziness that is going on. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sherry and I garden in Ontario, Canada, growing zone 5B, and I'm excited to share my garden with you. So I thought I would start the garden tour with my compost area. So these are the tomatoes that were discards, and you can see in there that they have tomatoes growing on them and they're ripe, and I need to start harvesting them. And if I just show you these ones, look at the size of these. So I don't know if I've mentioned it in another tour, but we have this wired mesh paneling across the compost area because our dog gets into it. And it has worked out perfectly for us because I'm using it as a trellis. I do have a lot of tomatoes that are already ripe that I need to start harvesting, and I will do that after I've walked you around the garden. I really want to get them inside and processed so that I don't waste them. But I do want to tell you that this one here is yellow gooseberry, and I'm loving it. The taste, the color, the size, everything about it. This here is our strawberry bed, and I mentioned before that we had a family of chipmunks that were living here and eating all of our strawberries. Well, they must have went on vacation because all of my strawberries are ripening and they're still here. So I'm definitely going to be harvesting them today as well. The other thing that I wanted to show you is that it's actually sending runners out, and they're actually taking root into the wood chips around the bed. So I'm gonna have to move those as well. So these are my shishito peppers. I just want to bring you in a little bit closer and show you the size of that big red one in there. Yep, they are not shishito peppers. I know that the seed packet must have been wrong because this is the second time I've used those seeds and didn't get what I thought I was going to get. So I know that it wasn't a mistake on my part where I mislabeled 12 plants. And then here's another pepper that is supposed to be shishito. So this variety of sunflowers are called, or is called, short stuff. I will be cutting the heads off of these sunflowers and giving them to the chickens as a nice treat. Behind the shishito peppers, we have a couple really sad looking tomato plants that are trying to grow up on that trellis there. The garden needs water desperately, and I'll be putting on the sprinkler tonight once the sun is starting to go down a little bit. But what I wanted to show you was my roses are starting to get roses. Now those weren't there when I left for vacation. They are looking a little bit sad, so I'll probably come in and deadhead them so that they produce more. So let's just take a minute to appreciate these beautiful zinnias. I don't know what happened in the week that I was gone, but these have sprouted up like crazy. Now I did watch a video that said you should be deadheading consistently with the zinnias as well so that they continue to bloom these beautiful flowers. So I'm gonna have to go around after I pick all the tomatoes and deadhead the ones that are there, and I'm probably gonna keep those flower heads and then save seeds from them. This beautiful patch of green and red is all of our paprika peppers, and it looks like they need to be harvested as well. Before I went away, I harvested a whole bowl of paprika peppers, and so I'm just waiting to harvest the rest of these ones, and then I can get them into the dehydrator. This big mess here is, I think I have 5 tomato plants on this trellis. This is a 6-foot bed. It's probably too much to be putting on this trellis. I probably should have only put 4, but I wasn't anticipating it going this crazy. What I will say about this type of variety is that it is a very good producer. The other thing that I'll say about them is it's not great to harvest. So what I find is that when you're harvesting the ripe ones, they usually crack as you're breaking them off. And then you really don't have a lot of time to think about what you're going to be doing in terms of processing. You really need to take them in and process right away before you start getting flies in the house. These tomato plants here are Queen of the Night. This is the first time that I have grown this variety, and I definitely will be growing them again next year. I feel like they are very strong plants that are producing a lot of fruit. And you'll notice here that they didn't actually get that big on this side of the trellis, but the plants are just covered with tomatoes. So in my books, it's well worth it to try these ones again. I'll probably try them in a different location just to see if they do anything different than what they've done here. I feel like I've showed my zucchini bed before. It's really an epic fail. I feel like the plants are really producing a lot of green foliage right now, but I've only gotten, I don't know, 4 or 5 zucchinis off of them. They really got attacked by the Japanese beetles and stink bugs, and they're just trying to get back. So I went and did something a few weeks ago, and I bought some grapevines. And so in this bucket here, I have planted a grapevine that is going to be going on the other side of this trellis. I currently have something in there, so I thought, why not plant it in the container and then just replant it in the fall. But you can see here that I have also planted one on this trellis, and I've just decided that this trellis here is going to be my grapevine trellis, and I'm going to grow grapes on it. I was thinking of doing a different type of trellis idea. My dad has one where he actually dug holes and put his 6x6 posts in, and then he attached wire, and I thought I was going to do that, but I have all of these beautiful trellises. I actually have 3 more cattle panels just waiting to be used, so I thought, why not use one? Actually 2. Why not use 2 of them for grapes? This here is my Tromboncino Rapicante arch trellis, and I have to say that it has gone crazy this past week. So I don't remember it being this lush when I left. I now have those 2 hanging there, and if you look up, you'll see that I have one doing something up there. That one might be a little tricky to get off, but I'm loving this. And you can tell that the vines are very healthy. They're very green still. It's loving this location. So beside it, I have, on either side of this trellis actually, I have lemongrass. Now I've never grown lemongrass before. I need to watch some videos on how to harvest it, but I have to say I love the dimension that it adds to your garden. Like these green spikes next to the basil, next to the pepper plants. It's just beautiful. And I'm just gonna bring you over to this side of the trellis, and you can see that I have it on this side as well. And so I think even if I don't like harvesting the lemongrass, because I know that the bachelor button's right beside it, when I'm harvesting the flowers, sometimes my arms will touch the lemongrass, and then for a day or two they're itchy, similar to the itch that I get with poison ivy, but without the rash that I would normally get. So I just have to figure out how to harvest it, the best way to do it, and then how to preserve it, and then to use it. So if you have harvested this before, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you did and how you use it. In this bed here, I have basil, which needs to be cut down. And then I have yellow monster bell peppers. And so you can just see the size of them. And there's a really good one over here. Like, look at the size of that pepper. It's crazy. It's probably my favorite variety. I've gotten the variety from Baker Creek. They always turn out really well. And it's always yellow monster. So I want to show you the epic fails as well. These are my cucumber vines. I pulled a bunch out before I left, planted some seeds in there, had my dad coming over to water the garden for me, but he has his own garden. He plays pickleball and he hurt his back recently, so I really couldn't expect him to constantly be over here babying my garden when he has his own. Having said that, he harvested a ton of tomatoes for me twice while I was gone. At the bottom of this trellis is my butternut squash. Now these did say on the package that they grew vines that were 3 feet long. That hasn't happened, and so it's kind of been a waste of the trellis. And they do not look like the traditional butternut squash. Like, they're very, like, this one's really long. However, this one here is much more like the butternut squash that I'm used to. So I'm not sure if something's happened with these seeds as well. And I don't know, they just didn't grow the way they were supposed to. I'm not sure. So beside it here, I have my other grape vines that I've planted in containers. And so across from it, I have this one here as well. So the idea is that once all of these vines are done growing the squash and ripening them up, I'll pull them out and plant the grapevines into there. Now I got 2 green grapes and 2 purple grapes. This here is one of my onion beds. I will say that the onions did pretty good, except that I did have cosmos behind them. So all along in here, I had the cosmos growing. I won't do that next year because the cosmos really bushed out and the onions in the back were not able to grow very big. So this here is an example of the cosmos really taking over the bed, and this bed should have produced me a lot of onions, but because these cosmos just really took over and started leaning in front of the onions or over top of the onions, they really struggled. Lesson learned for next year. Oh my gosh. Okay, so these were not really growing when I left, but look at this. Oh my gosh, I need to come out here. Well, I'm out here, but I need to make some time to harvest all of the beans. I don't understand why they're so short though. I thought these were a vining variety, but, and you can see that some of it is vining up. They're sending runners up, but the majority of them are really just bushing down below. One thing I will say about these beans, and I have them on both sides here is that they took forever to grow, like forever. And I'm not sure that I will grow these again next year because they took a lot of TLC to get them going. It really didn't feel like it was a very maintenance free, not that gardens are maintenance free, but I just felt like I had to put a lot of effort into getting them going. Here are my cayenne peppers. These are strictly being grown so that I can dehydrate them and blend them up and give them to the chickens in the wintertime. Okay, so I can't even walk through this walkway here without having to really duck down. These tomato plants are just going crazy. They're actually trying to reach over into the bed beside them. Oh my gosh. And so if we just come this way a little bit, this is my tomato arch, and I just love it. I think I'm going to do this every year. I really love growing the tomatoes on the arch trellis. This here is the second Rapacante Tromboncino squash arch that I have. I feel like one side of it is a lot healthier than the other, but both sides are producing. We have some that are actually going to be ready to harvest sooner than later, and so I kind of like the idea that some of them are ripening quicker than the others, so that I'm not having 200 pounds of Tromboncino squash to harvest and process all at the same time. This bed here has my carrots. The main part of the bed has the carrots, and then near the end there I have those long noodle beans, and then beside it we have basil and tomato plants. Now if you look at right here, you can see that the soil level has significantly dropped. This was a brand new bed this year, and I wasn't even sure that anything would really grow in it. It looks to me like the carrots didn't do super well. When I planted them, the soil level was pretty high, and they just don't look like they're doing great. Let's just see if we can pull one out. Okay, so they're not horrible. Like, even though the greens have, you know, browned up, and the carrots aren't going to be growing anymore, I could probably get a decent harvest out of them, considering that this is a brand new bed, and probably be enough to make a few jars of pickled carrots or even some carrot soup. So it's not bad. Okay guys, you know what this is. This is my favorite flower in the garden, calendula, and look at how beautiful. I don't even know if the camera is going to show you how beautiful this patch is. It's all really green and healthy looking, so I definitely need to cut all of those heads off, all those flowers, so that it keeps producing for me and doesn't send it doesn't end up going to seed and dying back. And so down here you'll see that I have a pumpkin that is just about ready to be harvested. Earlier in the season, I was growing all of my chamomile in one of my raised beds. And then I got this idea that this would look so pretty having a border of chamomile here that I pulled them all out, and I planted some here as well as some over by the compost area. So you'll also notice in the ground here that I've started planting my comfrey. So this is Bocking 19, which means that even when it flowers, it will not self-seed. This here is our peach tree, and I honestly do not even know what is going on here. You can see that the main leader here is dead, and it is now a peach bush. I don't even know what to do with this. Like, do I just cut it off at the bottom? Do I let it grow like this? I don't know. Send help. I'm just going to continue on to the comfrey. So I tried to plant comfrey about every 18 inches just to make a little wall of comfrey here. The chickens go crazy for this. They actually like the comfrey better than any other green veggie that I can give them. So better than the beet greens, carrot tops, lettuce. They love this the best. So this here is my fava beans. I obviously should have checked them before we left for Nova Scotia. It was a real last minute decision to go. And so I didn't really have time to come out here and tend to the garden and get it vacation ready, I'm gonna say. My purple potatoes, so they are really starting to die back. I could probably harvest potatoes now. I don't have the time right now. I'm gonna concentrate on the tomatoes, the peppers, and the calendula. So this might have to wait a couple days, but I'm sure they'll be fine. I did a video on anise hyssop, and I just wanted, I was walking past it, and I wanted to show you what a magnet this is for the bees. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's gone now. The bee has little saddlebags filled with pollen. They're going crazy on it. Oh, they're getting mad that I'm here. Well, after walking you around the garden, I see that I have a lot more to do than just harvesting tomatoes, peppers, and calendula. I got my work cut out for me. So I wanted to wish you a good day, and thank you for spending your time with me. Not a bad harvest before the mosquitoes came out.